Hello, everyone. Today in the news, we are going to talk about Singapore seeking compensation from Malaysia over a failed rail project. We are going to talk about elephants traveling over three countries and over 1,250 kilometers to their new home in Mozambique. And we are going to talk about Moldova trying to mend and improve relations with Russia. All right, so the first story we will be talking about comes from Reuters, and it says that Singapore will be seeking financial compensation from Malaysia over a canceled railroad project. So, Singapore and Malaysia have been engaging in a joint operation to connect the city of Singapore and the city of Kuala Lumpur over a high speed railway network over the ocean. The overall cost of this project is over $17 billion, and it was set to be completed by 2026. But recent information has come out that the Malaysian Prime Minister wants to scrap the project. The reason for this being is that the Malaysian Prime Minister believes that over one-fifth of the country's national debt could be alleviated by scrapping the project. The project has been going on for quite some time, and over $184 have been spent on the project already by Singapore and Malaysia. Singapore naturally wants to seek financial compensation for the money it has already put into the project. The Malaysian government seems to be willing to cooperate with Singapore and to give Singapore its financial compensation if the project is in fact terminated. Now, I think it's interesting that Malaysia wants to terminate the project. While the project is very expensive and while it may help to alleviate some of the country's debt, I do believe that high-speed railways are the key to the future of transportation. We've already seen many high-speed railways being developed over the past few decades, especially the one in Japan, the Shinkansen or the bullet train. There's also been talk of connecting Dallas and Houston via high-speed railway. Now, some of the economic concerns of these projects are not only the cost of the projects, but also a concern of small towns between Dallas and Houston. Some of these small towns could likely see a large reduction in their economy because people from Dallas and Houston will cease stopping in these small towns on their way to Dallas or on their way to Houston. Now, Kuala Lumpur and Singapore do not have a similar problem because they are connected over the ocean. So there are no small towns that could potentially see an economic deficit if a high-speed railway is produced. In fact, I think the economies of both the countries of Singapore and Malaysia could drastically be improved if this high-speed railway is completed by 2026. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Our second story comes from iol.co.za, and it says that over 53 elephants are traveling 1,250 kilometers across three countries to reach their new home in Mozambique. Zinave National Park of Mozambique has decided to foster 53 elephants from other countries in sub-Saharan Africa. These elephants will be traveling 1,250 kilometers or 777 miles across three countries. The reason for this relocation is to reduce threats of poaching in other countries and to help with overcrowding in other national parks and other nature reserves in sub-Saharan Africa. Every year, over 30,000 elephants are lost to poaching in sub-Saharan Africa, and there are only 415,000 African elephants left. So before we know it, African elephants could be on the brink of extinction. Now, the relocation of these elephants is not likely to stop poaching efforts by poor people in sub-Saharan Africa. Poaching often occurs for economic reasons. It usually has nothing to do with hunting, and it has everything to do with poor people needing to feed themselves. The poaching market is very lucrative in China, and many people in sub-Saharan Africa have chosen to poach elephants for their ivory and sell it on the black market to China for a profit. Sadly, poaching will probably not cease in sub-Saharan Africa until their economies are stable and lucrative enough to support their more impoverished populations. I think that to truly mitigate poaching in sub-Saharan Africa, we need to see an economic revival. We need to see programs being put in place that can help to feed, clothe, and give money to the poor populations in sub-Saharan Africa. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Our last story comes from TASS.com, and it states that a Moldova top diplomat is calling for improving relations with Russia. The Minister of Foreign Relations of Moldova has stated that the best way to improve relations with Russia is to maintain a constant dialogue. Moldova, like many Eastern European countries, has aspirations to join the European Union, which is something that Russia is strictly against. In 2017, Moldova retaliated against Russia by expelling Russian diplomats and banning Russian artists from the country. However, in 2018, Moldova seems to be turning over a new leaf and wants to mend relations with Russia. However, Moldova is remaining adamant about protecting its national sovereignty and procuring a place in the European Union, despite criticism from Russia. Moldova also stated that Romania is its most important ally when it comes to EU integration as well as modernization and stability. So this seems to indicate that Moldova wants to maintain ties with Russia, but also wants to maintain ties with other Eastern European countries and the European Union. It seems that Moldova wants to establish diplomatic relations with multiple countries, not just Russia, but it still wants to maintain a healthy dialogue with Russia. I think this is an interesting juxtaposition from yesterday's story with Serbia, who seems to be moving away from Russia to become friendlier with the Ukraine and the European Union. Moldova seems to be doing the opposite. While it still wants to maintain friendly relations with countries of the European Union and with countries of Eastern Europe, it also wants to maintain a dialogue with Russia, which is interesting because it directly contrasts what Serbia is doing by moving away from Russia. It seems that we are seeing a geopolitical shift in Eastern Europe, which is being promulgated by tensions between Russia and the European Union. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow.